it's Allora back again with another video. If this is your first time visiting my channel, hi, welcome, and I'd appreciate if you'd hit that like and subscribe button so that we don't miss anything from me. And if you guys are coming back again, thanks for coming back to see me. You know I miss you. But today we're going to be talking about hair types. And I've been doing an extensive amount of research on, hair types and textures and porosity and basically everything under the sun possible. And I'm going to be turning this into a series so that way, one, so I can educate myself, two, so I can educate you guys. So today we're going to be talking about the type 3 hair type, and I do want to preface that with, just because I say something doesn't mean it's true for you, and this is not, a general consensus on how all hair works. So I might say something and you might be like, well, actually, you said this about 3A, but my hair doesn't actually do that. My hair does what 3C hair does, and that is perfectly fine because all hair types are different. Basically, everything I'm going to say in this video is just stuff that I've learned and kind of just the general consensus on what all these hair types are. And also, we're going to be figuring out what my hair type is, because I'm still a lazy natural and I still don't really do what I'm supposed to be doing with my hair because I haven't taken the time to figure out what my actual hair type is. But I don't have an excuse anymore because I'm finally making this video. So let's go ahead and get started and we'll talk about type 3 hair. So the first hair type that I'm going to be talking about is going to be 3A, and this hair type has a tendency to be kind of like a loose S shape. The curls are not very tightly coiled, they're pretty loose. And it's going to be about the circumference of, say, for example, like sidewalk chalk. I don't know what kind of chalk you guys play with when you were younger, but it's going to be about that size. So what I've heard as far as tips on this hair type is to use things like light creams and milks and things like that, just because the hair type is, you don't want the curls to be weighed down just because they are a very loose spiral, and 3A hair has a tendency to hold moisture pretty well. And so you don't want to weigh it down with anything like heavy butters. Now again, your hair might be different, but just from what I've read, just kind of the general consensus is 3A hair types, you want to use things that are light and aren't going to weigh it down or cake it up. So the next hair type that we're going to talk about is going to be 3B. Now this hair type is still going to be pretty similar to 3A, but the curls are going to kind of be, they sometimes bounce between ringlets or like tight corkscrews, and the circumference of this hair is going to be about like one of those thick Sharpies or even your index finger. So just from what I've heard from other 3B naturals and things that I've read online, 3B hair tends to get frizzy a lot more easy than the other hair types. I don't know precisely why, but apparently buying products that are good for like, frizz resistance, if that's what it's even called, but just helping with major frizz, because this hair type tends to get a little messy if it's not neat all the time. And the last hair type that we're going to be talking about is going to be 3C. Now this hair type is, it's usually pretty fine, the hair is pretty fine, but because it's like densely packed together, it gives off the illusion of having a lot of volume. This hair type is also going to have the most shrinkage out of all the different 3 type hair textures, just because it teeters on the edge of almost being a 4. And I will say, I think I teeter between being a 3C and a 4A, and a lot of people kind of teeter between hair types, so that's just something to keep in mind. So this hair type is going to be about the circumference of like a pencil or a straw, but again, the kind of thing that differentiates it from being a type 4 hair texture is that you can still see the coil. When you start getting to the 4s, your hair starts getting into like a Z shape, but when you're still in the 3s, you still have that spiral that's easy to see and it's visible. From what I have read online, this hair type is actually the most fragile hair type out of all the 3s, and so having extra heat on your hair, like me for example, I live in Texas, that Texas heat be getting you, girl, and so my hair is very dry and very brittle, and I do have a tendency to forget to moisturize every single day, so just keeping that in mind, getting heavy moisturizers. If your hair needs it, you might be a 3C who is easily able to retain moisture in your hair, and that is perfectly fine. But just the general consensus I've heard is using like heavy butters and creams to keep moisture, that sort of thing, and keep the curls defined, because light oils and things like that are going to be sucked up very easily by hair. Now, that's kind of a hair porosity thing, which I'm going to get into later in a different video, but that's just the general that I've heard. And that is a breakdown of all the type 3 hair types. Now, everything that I've said, just like I prefaced in the very beginning of this video, That just does not mean that it necessarily applies to you. You know, I could have said something about 3A. Turns out you do need heavy creams and butters instead of milks and creams. Maybe for 3C hair type, just like I said before, maybe your hair doesn't frizz very easily, or maybe your hair isn't fragile, it's very strong and it has very thick roots, you know, it's got a thick density. Again, I don't know your hair. This is just sort of my rudimentary research. So I haven't even really talked about, you know, like hair porosity, fine versus coarse hair, different hair textures like coily, wiry, cottony, that sort of thing. And all of these things play a part in how you would care for your hair. So I'm going to be making a video about each and every one of these things. I kind of wanted to do a series about it just because I don't want somebody who's also a new natural like me to take this video as like the word of God or something like that, just because, you know, I think I'm, you know, between a 3A and a 4C, but also I don't know my hair porosity. I don't really know my hair texture. I don't know if I need moisture or, you know, something else. So all those things are things I have to figure out for myself. But I would recommend you stick along with me, follow my hair journey, and go ahead and hit that bell if you haven't already, so that way you don't miss my type 4 video where I go into detail about the differences between the type 4 hair types. And for type 1s and type 2s, don't worry you guys, I definitely didn't forget about you. I'm fully aware of you guys. It's just for me personally, for my own natural hair growth journey, I've been looking at type 3 and type 4 because I wanted to figure out what I am, because I know I'm definitely not a 1 or a 2. But I promise I'm not going to miss out on you guys. I just planned on putting out the 3 and 4 video before I put out the 1 and 2. So be sure to hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to me. And I know that I keep on telling you guys to subscribe, but it's because I know that if I don't say it, you guys won't do it. But tune in next time for my next video, which is probably either going to be about the type 4 hair, or it's going to be a college video. And you guys should tune in for my college advice videos as well, because, you know, your girl is seniors now. But remember, we growing.